You check the phone before you are fully awake. Not because you expect anything, because not checking feels worse than the disappointment of nothing being there. The checking has become automatic, a reflex, something your hand does before your mind has given it permission. This is not devotion. You know that somewhere, but knowing it has not stopped it. And the gap between what you know and what you keep doing is one of the most quietly exhausting places a person can live. This video is about that gap, about what is actually driving the obsessive pull toward the divine masculine, even when you know the pulling is not helping, and about what it actually takes to interrupt it at the level where it is being generated. Not through willpower, not through spiritual practice alone, at the nervous system level, where the pattern actually lives. There is one thing I am going to tell you about the chaser wound that the twin flame community almost never says. It is not about them at all. Stay with me. Here is the story you have been telling yourself about the obsession. You have been telling yourself that you cannot stop thinking about the divine masculine because the connection is that significant, that the pull is proportional to the depth, that if you could just find the right practice or the right frequency or the right moment of surrender, the obsession would naturally dissolve. That story keeps you focused on the connection as the source of the problem and the solution. And as long as you are looking at the connection for both the wound and the cure, you will stay in the loop. The obsession is not about the divine masculine. It is about an unmet need inside you that predates this connection by decades. And the divine masculine, through no fault of their own, has become the object onto which that need has been projected. Understanding that is not a rejection of the connection. It is the beginning of actually being free inside it. Richard Schwartz spent decades developing a therapeutic framework called internal family systems. His central observation was this: the interior is not a single unified voice. It is a system of distinct parts, each part developed at a specific point in your life to meet a specific need. And each part is still doing its job, even when that job is making your life harder. The part that drives the obsessive checking is what Schwartz calls an exile. It is the part of you that at some point early in life learned that love was uncertain. That closeness could disappear without warning, that you had to monitor, pursue, and manage connection to keep it from vanishing. That part is not broken. It is doing exactly what it learned to do, but it learned in a different context, with a different person, at a time when you genuinely had no other tools. What the exile needs is not suppression. It is not discipline or more spiritual practice. It needs to be seen by the part of you that Schwartz calls the self, the calm, curious, compassionate interior witness that exists beneath all the parts. When the exile feels seen by the self, it can gradually relax its grip. The obsession does not require force to dissolve. It requires contact. I want to tell you about a woman named Fatima. She was 33, a pharmacist, someone precise and methodical in her work, and completely untethered in this one area of her life. She had been in the chaser pattern for 18 months. She described it as having two brains, one that functioned perfectly, and one that was permanently parked outside someone else's house. The moment of shift came on a Sunday afternoon. She was on a walk. She noticed she had spent 45 minutes mentally composing a message she was not going to send. She stopped walking. She put her hand on her chest, and she said out loud to herself, very quietly, "I see you. I know you are scared. I am not going anywhere." She told me later she felt ridiculous. And then she felt something release in her chest that she had not known was held. She did not stop thinking about the divine masculine that afternoon. But something in the quality of the thinking changed. It became less desperate, less urgent. Like the part driving, it had received something it had been waiting for. The first sign the chaser wound is active is called the monitoring compulsion. You track the divine masculine's digital presence the way you would track a threat, social media, last seen, who they follow. This is not curiosity. This is your nervous system running a threat assessment to determine whether the attachment is still intact. The Exile believes that if it watches closely enough, it can prevent the loss it is terrified of. The second sign is called the message rehearsal loop. You compose and recompose communications you do not send. You script conversations that have not happened. You prepare for a meeting that may never occur. This is the Exile trying to control an outcome it cannot control. And each rehearsal reinforces the neural pathway that keeps you stuck. The third sign is called the meaning generation machine. Everything the divine masculine does or does not do becomes information. The silence means something. The brief reply means something. The absence of a reply means something else. Your nervous system is working extraordinarily hard to find certainty in the behavior of someone who is not providing it. The fourth sign is called self-abandonment through focus. The hours you spend focused on the divine masculine are hours you are not spending building your own life, your creative practice, your friendships, your ambitions. The Exile has redirected your entire life force toward maintaining a connection, and the you that existed before this connection has become quieter and harder to locate. The fifth sign is called the sovereignty surrender. You are waiting for the divine masculine to make a move before you decide how to feel, before you decide what to do, before you allow yourself to move forward. You have handed the remote control of your own emotional state to someone who does not know they are holding it. Integration begins the moment you take that remote back. I want to give you something right now. This is called the Exile Acknowledgment. Place both feet flat on the floor. Put one hand gently on your chest. Take one slow breath. Now speak directly to the part of you that keeps checking, not to silence it, to address it. Say these words internally or out loud. I see you. I know you are trying to protect something. I know you are afraid of being left. I am here. You do not have to keep watching. I am not going anywhere. Stay with whatever arises for 30 seconds. Do not analyze it. Just let the part be seen. This is how the nervous system learns that the present moment is safe. Not through argument, through contact. The chaser wound was never about the divine masculine. It was about a child who learned that love required pursuit, that monitoring was the price of attachment, that rest was dangerous. You are not that child anymore, but the part of you that still believes you are has been running your relationship with this connection from the very beginning. The obsession does not end when the divine masculine chooses you. It ends when you choose yourself with the same consistency and urgency you have been choosing them. Drop a comment below and tell me specifically what you are monitoring most obsessively right now. Not generally, the specific behavior, because naming it precisely is the first act of sovereignty in a pattern that has been running on invisibility. If this kind of grounded and psychologically honest perspective is what you have needed subscribe to Divine Flame Union, because we bring this depth every single week.